We do. Well, we're not the publisher. We
Mm.
help the author publish the book in their own name. We never
Ah.
we never take control of the book, but we do offer all of the services they need, all the way
Mhm.
from manuscript editing, all the way through advice at every step, cover design, interior design and
Mhm.
layout, distribution setup, ebook formatting, the whole thing, so that they don't have to worry about going out there and hiring 10 freelancers.
Welcome to Story Power, a bi-monthly podcast where my guests and I chat about stories and creativity in all different styles and formats. My name is Lucinda Sage-Midgorden, and my goal is to promote what Dale Carnegie stated in his famous book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. He said, instead of condemning people, let's try to understand them. Let's try to figure out why they do what they do. That's a lot more profitable and intriguing than criticism, and it breeds sympathy, tolerance, and kindness. To know all is to forgive all. It's my firm belief that the goal of most creative people is to try to understand themselves and others. That's what makes artwork of all kinds so compelling. But more than that, the personal stories of my guests promote understanding as well. Roger C. Schenck, a cognitive scientist, said, human beings are not ideally set up to understand logic. They are ideally set up to understand stories. It's my hope that Story Power will help us understand each other better by sharing the stories of my guests. Hello, today is episode 106, and I'm talking to Michele Defilippo. And Michele, I am so excited to talk to you about your business. So welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, listener. I'm pleased to be here, and I hope I can be of service to your listeners.
Oh, yes, me too, because I do have a lot of writers who are guests. So I looked at your website, and now, do you say 1106
I do. Yes.
design is the name of your? Okay, so tell us what you do, because I loved what your mission was. So,
Oh, well, thank you. As you know, so many people are self-publishing now.
mhm.
But I've been in the publishing business for more than 50 years now, and
Whoa.
serving independent authors, self-publishers since 2001. And I've seen a lot of confusion creep into the industry, and a lot of authors being taken advantage of, to say it politely. So my message is to give authors the information they need to make an informed decision. There's many publishing models out there. Each has its own audience, if you want to call it that. The same decision is not right for every author, but I want to make sure that they're getting the information that they may not be getting elsewhere. And so that's the reason I started doing these podcasts.
Wow, yes, that's great. So, what are some things that self publishers need to think about? Because my husband and I did my book independently, but I'm lucky. He's a graphic artist. He does newsletters. He could edit it. He could do the cover art. He could do the layout, but not everybody's that lucky. So, what are some other things? What are some things that people who are thinking about publishing independently need to think about?
Well, I can boil it down to three main publishing models that exist now. And
Ah.
first one is traditional publishing that we're all familiar with. In
Mhm.
that model, the publisher pays the experts to produce the book. The publisher hires the editors and the designers and the
Mhm.
proofreaders and ebook formatters and all the rest. And in return for that investment, the publisher makes most of the money from book sales and pays the author a royalty, a
Mhm.
payment called a royalty. Everyone's familiar with that. Now, in 2001 or so, independent publishing came about with the appearance of Amazon. For the first time in history, Amazon made it possible for every author to obtain distribution for their book without going through a traditional publisher.
Ah,
The
uh-huh.
author, so the key to remember is the author is the publisher or should be the publisher
Mhm.
when you're independently publishing a book. So in the beginning, that was fine. Authors understood that They were the publisher. They hired the experts. They made the investment. And in return for that investment, they got all of the money from book sales. And that was great, right? Because that means they made more than a small royalty for their trouble and their money and their time. So over the years, though, a middle ground group of companies came into the picture. They call themselves various names. You might hear the term self-publishing company. You might hear the term hybrid publishing company. You might hear the term independent publishing company. But what they all have in common is that they become the publisher of the book. That the author is no longer the publisher. So what these companies have done is to borrow from both models that I just described. They charge the author to produce the book, and they keep some of the money from book sales and pay the author a royalty. But that doesn't work out so well for the author, right?
Right.
Because if you think of it in another way, if let's say you're not selling books, you're selling sandwiches for a living. You go to the market, right? Really, let's talk business models here. You go out to the market, you buy your ingredients, you make a sandwich, you sell it to the customer. Do you pay the supermarket again every time you sell a sandwich?
No, you don't. Right. Yeah.
No. So why would anybody go to a publisher who charges them to produce the book and also takes money out of their pocket every time the book is sold?
Right.
That's what's happening in the business today. Now, to be fair, some of the publishers do actually contribute to the production of the book, either in terms of services or marketing assistance or whatever. And in that case, then fine, they deserve a portion of the back end because they're actually investing their money. Right? That's just an ordinary partnership. Nothing wrong with that. But there are so many businesses out there now that charge the author to produce the book and take their money on the back end. And the author is really left with all of the risk and none of the reward, very little of the reward. So that's why I'm out here talking.
Yeah. So do you just advise writers, or do you also help them publish their book?
We do. Well, we're not the publisher. We help the author publish the book in their own name. We never take control of the book, but we do offer all of the services they need, all the way from manuscript editing, all the way through advice at every step, cover design, interior design and layout, distribution setup, ebook formatting, the whole thing, so that they don't have to worry about going out there and hiring 10 freelancers and managing all of that. So we do all of that. We help them get the book distributed in their name so that when a book is sold, the money is deposited directly into their bank account, never into our bank account first. And that's the crucial difference. Nowadays, it's going by the name Author Services. You could describe us as an author services company. So we facilitate publishing for the author, but we do not publish the book in our name.
Yes. Now, I'm assuming that there are fees for the editor and for the person who lays out the book and the person who comes up with the cover art and any art that's on the inside, because I have maps that my husband had to create on the inside cover of my book. Because it has 2 timelines. So he was showing the Oregon Trail and what states were in the Union right before the Civil War and things like that. Which that was really interesting because it was Oregon and California on the West Coast. And then there was this huge, gap in between. So, but yeah, so do they pay a separate fee for each of those, or do they pay one flat fee, or how does that work?
Well, what we do, we usually start by having a conversation with the author, finding out about their book, finding out about their goals, and then I will send a proposal based on the services that they need. Right. So, but then we pay all of those vendors and we manage all of those vendors, and we just have the relationship with the author where they can ask us as many questions as they want. Most projects we answer 300 questions by the time the project is done, back and forth conversation. And we take care of all the complexities so that they don't have to worry about qualifying people, choosing the right designer, choosing the right editor, and all of that. And there's a lot of trouble that happens in terms of that too in the marketplace. Freedom is messy.
Yes, one author that I talked to, she and some other, I guess he had like 4 or 5 or 10 authors that he was working with, and he was like a hybrid publisher. And once the books were published, he walked off with the money, and the authors were left high and dry. And so that's not going to happen with you.
No,
Yeah.
because we're with the author for a short time to prepare the book. After that, it's uploaded to the author's print-on-demand accounts. So they will never lose control of their book if they work with us.
Yes.
There's been unfortunately, quite a few stories just like that. And it's, I don't want to badmouth anybody, but it's unfortunate, but it comes down to whoever you give the control to, you're trusting them, you're depending on them. And sometimes that trust is misplaced, as it is in many areas in our life.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So do you also help them with like training for marketing their book and that kind of thing as well?
We do. We have some resources on our website marketing page where they can take over the marketing of the book themselves if they want to roll up their sleeves. My sense of it has been that authors aren't really too keen on doing that, but for those who do want to do that and feel capable of using social media and so forth on their own, they can save a lot of money over hiring a marketing firm to promote their book. I also recommend 3 marketing experts that I trust to every author. They're small business women, just like I am, and they won't take the author's business unless they believe they can deliver results.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yes, because marketing it's difficult for me because my background's in theater, and I don't know the business side of theater. I used to be a director, actor, stage manager, that kind of stuff. But there's that whole business side where the advertising has to take place, and, interviews with the director and maybe the stars on radio stations. This was way back before social media was a big thing. So I don't know that aspect of it, but there's that whole business side of it that you have to get people to come in to see the play. And it's the same thing with the book. So I'm not so great with that aspect of it. So that's wonderful that you have something where you can help authors. I do know authors who just are gung-ho and can do it all themselves, but I'm not one of them.
Well, look, nobody can be an expert in everything, right? Well, it's just not possible. So one of the resources on my website is author marketing training, where the author can sign up and get 8 weeks of one-on-one training on how to market themselves and their book. And the thing I love about this product, and the thing that I love that my authors love about the product, is that the trainer will start right where you are. If you've never heard of Twitter, that's okay. That's where she'll start, and just take you step by step through as much training as you need in that 8-week period and get you going. Social media is great. It has actually complicated marketing in one sense, because now we have to talk to the whole world. But there's many ways of marketing book. Another one of the marketing products I have is a marketing expert who will compile a gigantic database of where you can find your target audience online to help you narrow it down, because just posting on Twitter without targeting is pointless. And so she'll provide a list of hundreds of websites and reviewers and blog writers and so forth, where your audience gathers. And every book has its audience. No book is for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So she'll help you narrow that down and figure out, okay, who's my audience and where are they hanging out online so that I can have at least a reasonable shot at making contact with them.
Yes, really. Now, do they also encourage like newsletters? And I don't know what this is, but Substack, where people have to subscribe to your newsletter. Do is that part of it too, the marketing?
Sure. We actually are on Substack. My newsletter is there.
Hmm.
And I offer that you don't have to always subscribe for money. Lots of the writers there offer free newsletters. We do
Mhm,
that.
mhm.
Um, and that's a place where writers gather. So that's really a good place for anyone who's in the
Mhm,
publishing industry to
mhm.
gather.
Yeah.
What some of my authors, what we do, if you visited our website, you can see that in return for an email address, I will offer a free download of my book, which is called Published Like the Pros. And that email address automatically subscribes you to our newsletter.
Yes.
Right. And you can unsubscribe if you're not interested. That's fair.
Mhm. Mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't subscribe because I already I'm already subscribed to so many different
Me
things.
too. Yeah.
Oh, you know how it goes.
Yeah,
Um,
but if you just want the free book, you can subscribe for 5 minutes, get the book, and
yeah.
unsubscribe.
Well, that's true. Yeah. Now, I was going to ask you something else about that. Oh, blogs. I have been keeping a blog since 2013. And but I'm kind of my husband is getting ready to retire, and since he's a graphic artist and does all this online stuff, he's a techie guy as well as an artist. Uh, we were talking about maybe moving it from WordPress now, and but I've been rethinking. I'm thinking, well, maybe I should turn it into a newsletter or blog/newsletter, but I don't know anything about that. Can you talk about that?
I well, just opinions, right? I would leave the blog where it is in WordPress. That's
Mhm,
the standard,
mhm,
right? But what you need to do is somehow drive people to find it.
mhm,
So what we do is we have the blog on our website and we do the newsletter through Substack. And we
mhm.
when we release a new blog post, that's an item in the newsletter for anybody who wants to click through and read it.
Oh, I see. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I don't know. We're just rethinking all because I have the podcast and I'm writing a book and I have my blog and we're just rethinking. Maybe we need to do some streamlining here.
Well, the thing is that every time if you're in WordPress and you're hosting your website and your WordPress blog is on your website,
Hmm.
every time you post a blog, it hits Google.
Hmm.
So you really don't want to miss out on that.
Hmm.
Right. So people who may be searching for your topic, not necessarily searching on Amazon for a book at that moment, it may
Hmm.
pop up and you may, get some readers that way.
Hmm. Yes, I do. I have a fairly large email list that it goes out to, but also, it's just WordPress people
Yeah.
find me too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and
You can import your existing list into Substack.
oh, okay. I'll think
Yeah.
about that.
And they make it, I'm not too techy, but they make it really easy. I was able
Oh,
to
okay.
do it.
Yeah, and that's what Barry said. He has to, do some research because, when he's working, he doesn't have time to do all that research. Because he has little jobs, he has a little business on the side where he helps people with their Mac problems. And he does a newsletter for the country club that he's been doing for years and years and years. And, things like that. So those take up a lot of time. And so when he finishes working full time, then he will have time to do the investigation on
Yeah.
that.
It's almost like you have to have an all of the above approach because you don't know where the next
That's
customer is going to come from, and you don't want to be absent from any channel. But it
right.
does, but it does take a lot of time.
It does, yes. And even if you're just an author and you have a blog and you have a newsletter, that's a lot. But
Yes.
then I also have my podcast, which I switched to a different host so that I could expand where it could be available for people. And so that's kind of a lot too. But what I try to do is I always try to have, at the bottom of whatever the show notes or my blog, links to different things that I'm doing. So, but that's takes a lot of work.
Yeah, I think we're all spending a lot more time on tech than we ever anticipated.
Really, really. When I was teaching, I took this class and it said, well, there are tech natives and there are tech immigrants. And that's what I am. I'm a tech immigrant because I didn't, computers weren't even invented until I was, pretty old.
Oh, me too. I was in business 10 years before I got a personal computer. Yeah, it's hard to believe how we used to do things.
I know, really. Yes. So, how many do you have people that just come and go, or do you have people that stick around with you book after book after book?
I have quite a few customers. Probably about 40% of them come back and do book after book after book. Many are one-time authors. Most people don't write multiple books in their lifetime.
Right.
But we serve every one of them. We teach every one of them whatever it is they need to know, and we hold their hand throughout the process. And that I think is what makes us different. If you come to us, you'll never be hoisted onto an assembly line with robot replies or chatbots or any of that. It's real human customer service where someone who has the authority to answer your question will think about it and write a real response. We're small. We don't have a call center, and frankly, I don't want one. I don't think that's the way to deliver customer service.
Right. Yeah. Now, the experts that you have, are they like contracted people or do they work for you?
I have a team, and it's an external team. It's not practical to do publishing services with an internal team because every book that comes in the door is different, right?
Oh, right.
And I could never have 20 different kinds of editors on staff. That would be unaffordable. So what I do is I match the book to the best editor, the best designer who does the best job for that particular kind of book. And that also gives us the flexibility to finish the book quicker because I can assign an open editor or an open designer immediately. I don't have to wait for someone to finish the book they're working on before they can start the next one.
Oh, that's really great. I love it. Yes, that's so true because, if I were an editor, I probably would never be an editor. But if I were, I would not want to be editing nonfiction books most of the time. I would be, I have certain genres that I really love. So I would want to be editing a genre of fiction that I really like. And I'm sure your colleagues do the same.
Yeah, it's like anything else. You start your career and you kind of get directed one way or another, not necessarily through your own efforts or wishes. It just happens. So we have editors who have more experience in fiction, and I will send them the fiction titles. And we have other editors that have medical book expertise or legal expertise, and I will send the nonfiction books to them. And so everybody gets to work on what they know best and what they like best.
Now, when you were in the publishing industry, what did you do?
I was a designer. My background is in design. My first job was at Crown Publishing in New York in 1972.
Whoa.
Yeah. And then and before that, I went to Catholic high school where the nuns really taught me how to type fast. So I came to Phoenix in 1976, couldn't make more than minimum wage. And so that's when I started a typesetting business. And I thought to myself, I can type. So my husband and I talked about it, and we went out and we leased a $30,000 typesetting machine. And I opened my typesetting business in 1980. And after that, we've just been riding the publishing roller coaster ever since.
Yes.
Steve Jobs put every typesetting business in the world out of business when he invented the Mac.
Yes.
He did. I'm not kidding you. I
I
mean,
know, that's
yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah. You haven't lived until you've taken apart a $30,000 typesetting machine and thrown it into the dumpster piece by piece.
Oh,
So it's been quite a ride. But
yes.
now I'm using a Mac like everybody else. We use Macs and we serve the customers over the internet, which is wonderful. Now I'm not
Mhm.
limited to just writers in Phoenix or Arizona. I can serve
Mhm.
writers all over the world.
That's great. Yes. And that's the cool thing about my podcast as well and my blog is I have people from all over the world who follow me on both things.
Hmm.
Spotify has this thing at the end of the year where they celebrate all your successes. And this year they said 50% of your followers are outside the United States. And I went,
Wow.
"What?
Yeah.
Whoa." Oh, that was pretty interesting. Yeah. So, yeah, we have to kind of go with the flow, I guess. But I'm so sad about having to rid of your machine, your typesetting machine. That
Yes,
must
that
have been
wasn't a fun time.
that was devastating, I imagine. So, did you start this business shortly after that, or what did you do in between then and your when starting your 1106 design?
Well, when the typesetting business ended, I went back to freelancing for a number of years
Oh,
as a graphic designer.
uh-huh, uh-huh.
And then I went to the library one day and I just picked up this brochure from the Arizona Book Publishing Association,
Oh.
which I had never heard of. And I went to a couple of meetings and I thought, and I learned that independent publishing was taking off and Amazon was changing the world.
Mhm,
And I thought, well, why don't I see what I had done books at Crown Publishing
mhm.
way back when. So I thought, well, let me see if I can focus on books. And that's how it happened. And it's been going great ever since.
Oh, wow. Now, are you an avid reader?
I wish I had more time to read, but I
Running a
read.
business.
Yes, it's more than a full-time job, as anyone who runs a business knows.
Mhm,
But yes, I do love to read every chance I get.
mhm. That's good, yeah. Well, I'm sure you're reading something because you're helping writers, so
Yes, yes.
yeah.
We're exposed to far more books than most, I think.
Oh, yeah, really?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, that's so great. Do you have anything else you wanna say?
No, just that I'm happy for this opportunity. I thank you for it. And I'm happy to talk to any author, whatever stage they're at in their publishing journey. Give
Mhm,
us contact us on our website. You can fill out our contact form and we'll call you. We'll reach out to schedule an appointment to talk to you.
mhm, mhm.
And again, go ahead and download my free book if you like, and that gives you an overview of how our process works and the things we think you need to know to
Mhm,
independently publish successfully and not get taken for a ride. So
mhm. That's
that's
cool, yeah.
it's simple. We keep it simple, and we just want to do a good job, one author at a time. That's what we're in business for.
Oh, that's great. I love that mission. Well, I will put your website, and all of your contact info that's on Podmatch that you have on your guest page. I will put all of that in the show notes. And I will reiterate that they can get a free book if they go to your website.
Yeah,
Because some people like me have books in every room of their house practically. So.
exactly. No, the books open up the world to us. Every book is important.
Oh, yes. Yes, it is. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, Michelle, thank you so much for being my guest. This was really fun.
Thank you, Lucinda. You've been a great interviewer. And just to repeat, 1106 Design is our website, and we would love to get to know you better.
Okay, cool. Yes. All you writers out there, go check them out. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you like what you heard, please share it with a friend and give us a rating and/or review on your favorite podcast app. It will help people find us. I invite you to join my Patreon community at patreon.com/storypower, all one word. Or if you like, you can subscribe to Story Power on Apple Podcasts. It's my aim to build a community where we discuss the stories we love and talk about what we learned from them. I offer extra audio content and story suggestions to my patrons on both platforms. Remember, as Philip Pullman said, after nourishment, shelter, and companionship, stories are the thing we need most in the world. Let's spread the story love. Until next time, this is Lucinda Sage-Midgorden. Thanks for listening.